Hey everyone, so this is just a little bit of a different video. I thought I decided to do just a whole like two sped up process of sculpting, specifically just anatomy. I was just doing like basic anatomy. And when I first started this project, I thought this would be a regular fish man, and then I started building it. I was like, no, let's make this a champion. He's gonna make him a little bit bigger. Gonna make his musculature a little bit more defined. And here I'm just getting the arms out of the way. I don't like to trim the arms right off. I don't know. It gives me something to hold on to. It gives me something to, I don't know, if I need to let it cure, I can hang it by that. Anyway, the first thing I'm doing is the feet, and the feet are webbed intentionally. It's not a circus freak thing. It's not deformed. It's for the fishman army, so that's why the fish that's why the feet will look like this. Basically trying to get a three-toed, three are they tarsals? Is that what they're called? Some sort of phalanges. I don't know. Anyway, so I wanted three little prongs there, and yeah, just I kept going. I wanted more definition. I wanted to make sure there was like at least one bone joint in there, so that's why I added little balls of green stuff in there. Um, this was a little fiddly too, because it's almost like it wasn't until I found there's one of the sculpting tools with like a little sphere at each end, different sizes. Really came in handy. I think I stop it and grab that in about a second here. Um, I think I did three. Like cartoonists used to do three finger. Yeah, there's the little sphere ball. Cartoonists used to use just give Mickey Mouse Bugs Bunny three fingers, I guess, because they wanted to save on animation, which I thought was kind of funny. But here I was like, well, I can. If you had three toes, you can add more definition than you could if there were four. If you had four or five, it'll get lost. It'll get muddled. Um, this isn't 3D. This isn't like a 3D program. This is physical sculpting, so it's a little, yeah. The tools only get so small. I think the more I did this, the more I realized his toes were crooked, and it's like his pinky toe shouldn't be longer than his big toe. I can't. I wonder if he calls it a pinky. Do they get to like this little piggy had roast beef, and that's the end of the story, or what? All right. I was also there. I am looking at the one of the original prototypes just to see. Like at that point, I'm still thinking he's probably gonna be a fish man, just a champion, but I want it to look about the same. I'm doing the calf muscles. The calf muscles are great. I just get two little teardrop shapes and put them on there, make them roughly the same size, and it's pretty easy to do the calf. It's one of it's I think by starting off with the calf muscle, it's just like a fun. It's like an easy. Oh, this isn't that tough. This is just human anatomy. I know I don't know human anatomy, but it's not that tough, and that's why I started there. But also, it's the more you build up, the harder it is to get underneath things. So if you start from the bottom up, that was my thought process anyway. I thought, all right, I'll start from the bottom up, and I will go from there. And the calf muscles are kind of good. There are a couple of things you need to do. Like you need to get that Achilles tendon. I think I add more green stuff here to make sure, yeah, it's a little more prominent. And then there are also the two, like the ankle bone at the bottom sticks out on either side. Um, so I add those little tiny little things there too. And most of this, once is just rolling it out to make sure the seams are pretty well hidden. You want it to stick out. You don't want it to look like it's was just dropped on there like it's a rivet or something like that. Well, I mean, unless you do, in which case knock yourself out. But this I just wanted it to blend in. A lot of times I'll be able to get that much definition by just like smushing the clay around and pushing it out, because there are two little hollows on either side of the Achilles tendon. So if you just put a little indent on either side with the sphere tool, it sometimes will give you enough material to make those happen. But I didn't have it here. So here I think I'm just giving it a little bit more definition. Okay, by the way, this video, 90% of it is off camera. I think being right-handed, I need to put the camera on the other side because my where I'm moving tools around, I keep getting it in front of the camera. And when I do the abs later, you'll see I finally just be like, you know what, I can't film this. It's too, like, it's so small. It's so tedious, and tedious in a good way. Like it's, it's almost like this sort of yeah. Hold on a second. Let me see. Yeah, all right. Looks like I'm about to start the quads. But I am gonna fill up the knee in a second. But no, like it's very meditative almost, when I say tedious. So you just do this tiny work. But at one point it's like filming and doing this is just it was just not enough room. So now I added a little bit. There is still, even though there's no muscle in the front of the leg, you still need to, there's still like the bone there. There's still, you still have to put something there. It's not just, you don't go right to the bone. There's obviously skin, so you have to put a little bit in the front too, and that's what I'm doing there. And the knee, like most of what I do, I start by getting muscle groups, but then I'm like, oh wait, there's also the knee, like the literal joint, the knee. So I have to add later. But here, I pretty much just look at like a bodybuilder's leg when I want the muscle groups, and because the quads, the leg muscles especially, are so confusing. Like everyone thinks they know what the thigh muscle looks like until they just try and sculpt it. But it's like it's that you have the four muscles, but also they intertwine. They go in different directions. So it's very different. So that's always like the biggest challenge for me is the thigh muscle, making it look just right. And then, of course, you have to add the knee. You have to add the patella. You have to add the kneecap. You have to add like the ligaments on either side, in the back of the leg, where the calf meets the thigh. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm adding the kneecap. And now, one thing you can do, you don't have to add the individual muscle groups. You could just put a blob of clay on there and try and shape it, and that will give you. And I do that quite a bit, just because I don't want it to be too defined. When you put all these individual muscles, like the more, like you really would have to smooth it out to make it not as defined. Like you're gonna get little creases in a good way. So, and I wanted them to be muscular, so I added the individual groups, and I'm just like, as I'm like rolling the silicone shaper over it, it's not I'm not pushing as hard as I would if I wanted just like a smooth surface. Here, like here's what I'm talking about, where you have, in addition to the muscle, you also have like the knee. There's something there that's not muscle, whether it's bone or whether it's tendons or whatever. So you still have to add green stuff to that. Otherwise, it's just a huge gap. So that's what I'm doing here. I think I cut because I think it was just like I was off camera for a while, but just very slow, methodical as you're doing it with green stuff. As it cures, you're just like filling in, making sure it just looks right. You're filling in gaps without interfering with where the muscles are trying to. So here where I put something like, it looks like I put just a little bit of green stuff in the gap. I still want to go along the grain of those muscles. So I fill up the gap, but then I just smooth it along that grain so it slides right in. Excuse me while there's a siren there. I don't know if I'm sure you can hear that. There'll be about 5 more before this video is over. Like there, and you see like there's a huge gap there behind in the back of the leg. So I ended up filling that. Here I think this might be isopropyl alcohol that I'm smoothing out the edges with. It might be off screen where I'm dipping it in isopropyl alcohol. That might come later. I can't quite remember. Maybe I'm just still smoothing it out. So like you have, after about a half hour, the green stuff, it's a little bit different. Yeah. All right. So anyway, it's done. So the green stuff changed a little bit. So here's where the isopropyl alcohol is. But at the very end, after half an hour, you're like, okay, it's pretty much cured. It's pretty much set. Are there any really rough seams that I need to sort of try and even out? And I don't really like to use isopropyl alcohol. It smells, it evaporates, and it goes somewhere. So if I can, I try not to use it. Okay, the next day, I finished the other leg, and now I'm doing, I did it off camera. So now I'm doing the abs. And the first thing I do, like, I think I tried a couple different sculpting tools. I don't add the individual muscles here just because they're so small. You'd have to get basically 8 pieces that are almost the same size, but not quite, or 6 that are the same size and 2 that are slightly bigger. So what I do instead, I try and like just like take this. It's a little bigger than a needle, little poker tool, and I try and form the abs as much as I can, and then I'll go on later and add detail. It's very deep. This is where you really need to get up close. At one point, I'm like, all right, I can't film this. I have to get one of my magnifying lamps that I have. It's like a big lens with like a light over it. I have 2 of them. One of them is a little too small, to be quite honest, which is fine. You know, I don't really use it that much, but it's like a good backup to have. And that's what that one. That's the one that I'm using here. All right, so now I come in with one of my smaller silicone tools, which I thought would be perfect. It doesn't actually work as well. The problem with this one, it's a little too rigid right now. So I'll need something a little bit softer that I go in later. So for now, and like this comes in handy. It depends on what stage of the curing process the green stuff's in. It working with it when you first form it versus working with it 20 minutes later, they're 2 different things. So you need to apply more pressure 20 minutes later. But here, I'm trying to use it, trying to get it through. And I think at some point, I just like, you know what, this isn't working. So I go and I take one of my softer silicone tools with a longer tip, and just like, so yeah, it just works a little bit better. So I get like the details in as much as I can here. Yeah, well, that'll come about eventually. I mean, I really like how it's coming out. I think at this point, I was like, I wasn't sure how this was going to fit into the Fishman army, because he looks nothing like the other characters, like nothing at all. And I don't want to do like a shark, you know, like I think sharks are going to be like a little played out. So I thought, well, what if I just made like a giant, like big mouth bass, like swallowing a halfling whole? So at some point off screen, I'll have 2 little halfling feet that I'm working on. All right, I'm off camera there, and there's a lot of this. This is just showing just how like finally I'm like, you know, I can't do this. I need some light. I need some. So I'm grabbing the magnifying light next to it, and really like these are just some of the other tools that I had to use. Like I think that one in the middle with like the arrow tip. I used, yeah, the light just came on there. Or the light just went off. I decided to shut off the light on the ring cam and turn on the magnifying light. And I was like, I can't. My eyes aren't that good. So anyway, so now that I see that I like, oh yeah, I really botched this up a little bit. So I use a different tool to do that. Oh, the bottom there, I just used when I make the armatures, I drilled a couple holes, poked them through. Then I used super glue and baking soda. Yeah, see, my hair's even in the way. I'm that focused. Like this is just. When I edited this video, I was like, yeah, leave that in just to show how weird you are. All right, now you'll see like, all right, I have another tool. This is the one, like a bigger tool, but it has a softer tip. So I was able to get in there with the abs more, and just like it just yeah, it just worked better. So I can make smaller details with that, because ironically, like even though the tip's big, even though it's looks like a bigger tip, the tip is actually smaller and softer, so it makes better details. Here's me completely blocking the camera as I'm putting in the obliques. Yeah, just here's my thumb. On the side there, I have chapstick, which I think you can actually use petroleum-based products like Vaseline, and it can help make it not sticky. But I wasn't really having a problem with the green stuff being too sticky. Yeah, so I worked on both obliques, and I think I have to put the camera on the other side. Yeah, so, and I think it basically was the same process. The only thing is like the abs are more defined than those side muscles. So I just was I mean the green stuff had almost cured at this point, or almost been fully hardened. So I just softly put those in with that little tool. I didn't cut them in with like that pointer, that steel pointer tool. I just wanted like subtle little things. That's what I was putting here. Oh, that fish man on the back isn't done, by the way. I'm gonna put another piece on this side on the back, so it looks like 2 points. All right, here I am. I have I have the camera light on and the other light on, and I'm doing the pecs. Um, I don't think I actually needed the magnifying light on this one, but I have it ready to go anyway. So yeah, the pecs are, yeah, I spent a lot more time on the back than I did the chest, I think, than the pec muscles, but these are pretty easy. You do a couple, um, you just a couple little rhombuses there, little, not quite squares. What it looks like, I don't know, Missouri shape, kind of, and you just yeah, smooth it around. The one thing that I really like about the pec muscles in terms of, again, I'm looking at bodybuilder pecs, but the way it transitions into the shoulder muscles and like into the underarm muscles, that like adds, if you get that just right, it's a huge difference. So I was really trying to get that just right, here. So yeah, and I think I'm not there yet, but another, oh, here I am. I'm adding to the shoulder detail. So I really want to, like, the chest, the pec sort of goes into the tendon goes right below where the shoulder muscle is. So it's an interesting transition, but also the good thing about that is, like, if you're worried about stopping and starting, that's a good place to sort of stop, because you can do the shoulder muscle will cover up where you last left off. But yeah, this is again here I'm really rethinking whether or not I'm going to use him as in the Fishman army, because it's I like doing this project. I think it's fun, and I think it's good practice just to do anatomy, but it doesn't work for the every other source that I have. So I'm just plugging along, like, I'm going to do a little bit more on this, and see, I'll do the back, and yeah, we'll keep going. And one of the things I did at the end there too, I was sort of like, oh, here it is. I think even though I'm off camera, I'm putting light striations in there, just kind of just to try and give the hint of the shoulder, or the muscle fibers. Like, I don't want it to be so rigid that it's that it sticks out like the abs, but I want slight little things there. And if you do too deep, you can always smooth it out later. And here I'm adding more to the, I think it's the obliques. I don't know, but I added a little bit more. I think there's like a little gap that I had to fill in, right above the obliques there. I think they're obliques, right? Yeah, but there's, so far, it looks good. Obviously he doesn't have a, like, oh, and originally I also was thinking I would put him in a Speedo. I thought that'd be funny because he was so muscular. I thought that would make it really funny. So whatever fish head I put in, then I put him in a big red Speedo and give him like a package. Um, but eventually I scrapped that. I ended up cutting those feet off, I gave him human feet, and yeah, but you'll see that at the end. But the next, here I had a little bit of leftover putty, and I was thinking, like, I could put him in the back and start that, but I was like, the problem with doing that is, like, if you push on the back, you're sort of putting your thumb on the area you just worked, so the pecs would have just been smushed, and all that work would have been thrown out the window. So I was like, let's be smart to use this green stuff for something else. The back muscle, I think the back is just has so much detail if you get it right. Like, everyone knows what a chest looks like. Not really. Not a lot of people just know what the muscles of the back look like, I think, at least, or maybe I'm just stupid. Um, but here I am. I'm putting a bunch of different. I really looked at, like, some weightlifter just flexing his back muscles, and inside here I'm doing the tricep, which, again, the tricep is interesting, the way it wraps into the other muscles, like the way the muscles go in and out. It's kind of fun. But I'm doing the backs and the finishing the shoulder and doing the tricep. I'm not doing the bicep yet. But the back was just, yeah, just looking at pictures, getting the basic shapes, and then adding like little tiny hints of where the striations would be, and just add to the topography of it. And again, here, like, if I were to make it a Fishman army, it would have, all this would have been moot, because I would be adding like a giant fin across the back. But here I was like, what, let's just keep going. This is fun just as is. It's like a study in anatomy. Oh, that's a good shot. You can see my thumb. Anyway, all right. So The problem I'm having with now, as you start to more and more, you'll see like the gaps between where I started yesterday and where I was today. Or I think this is all the same day, but you get what I'm saying. So but at some point you have to blend the back muscles into the obliques. You have to blend the chest muscle into the back muscle, into the shoulder muscle. They all have to blend in together. Otherwise it just looks yeah, like pieces that were just slapped on and glued together. And there's so you want those nice transitions. Yeah, and I really like how the back came out here. I think it looks so interesting. It looks realistic and anyway, it's obvious I'm not going to use this as a fish man. But anyway, it was a nice, fun little, I don't know, exercise study, I guess, working on anatomy. So it was anyway. I don't know. I'm gonna try and edit this video. Hopefully, it turns out all right. I know like it's probably you know, gonna be jumbling all over the place with the way I did it. And I also, obviously he's not finished. I just don't know what I'm gonna do with him. So he looks a little like Atlas doing this. Maybe I'll finish like that. Put like a wiffle ball on his head. So like he's carrying that. So anyway, thank you very much, and hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you next time.